Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. And holy crap, I think my heart rate's finally starting to get back to normal. Watching Atlanta finally wait until the last possible minute, literally, to get into the playoffs this year. Jesus, dude.
Literally game 162 for you guys.
I just feel like it wouldn't have been right for them to get in any other way with all the crap they dealt with this year. So hey, they're in. That means
I know. We're already gonna go into the they're injured, all this stuff. Yeah, they made it. Enjoy the ride.
No, I'm just glad to be in, because if you're in, you have a chance. That's all I ask for. Because I'll still take them over almost anybody. Well, but seriously, what a weird day in sports, though. You have a pair of games going into 162 today. We have other notable news we'll get to in a second. Just quick, what are you drinking tonight, Jason?
Yeah, so tonight I'm going with one of my favorites. I'm going with the Cheerwine Ale from Noda Brewing. And yeah, I can't believe that the regular season is already over and we're ready for some playoffs. Phil's don't play until Saturday, so rocking the Orioles jersey tonight, Ripken jersey, in honor of the Orioles wildcard games that they get to host starting tomorrow against the Royals, I believe it is.
Yep. And for me tonight, our Cheerwine Ale's all gone. So since we are in the hunt for October, for you, the hunt for Red October, I'm going with, from New Belgium, the Atomic Pumpkin. This is the spicy release, so it's their delicious pumpkin beer, but with some habaneros thrown in during the brewing process, so it's a nice little kick to it. I especially wanted to grab a New Belgium beer because one of their breweries is located over in Asheville, North Carolina, one of the areas that was badly devastated by the hurricane that rolled through. So, first of all, that area of North Carolina, from friends of mine that have gone down to Asheville, huge microbrewery area. Like, are a ton of breweries that none of them they ever thought were going to be affected by weather, especially as far inland as they were. Let's have this be a reminder that whether you believe in climate change or not, the storms are getting more severe and they're reaching farther into places where we never thought they would ever reach to. So,
yeah,
whether you want to believe that climate change is a thing or not, we cannot deny the fact that it has been changing over the last decade, 2 decades, and things are not really moving in a positive direction. So, from all of us up here to everyone affected down there, and for people that have family down there, I hope you at least get word soon. I know communications are going to be down there for quite some time. It's the whole area, the Carolinas, parts of Georgia, Florida, absolutely wrecked.
Yep.
So, I'll admit I'm not the biggest thoughts and prayers guy, but absolutely thoughts and prayers to the people affected down in the areas by the hurricanes.
Yeah. Keep staying safe down there, everybody. I have coworkers down in Florida and Georgia, and from the sound of it, everybody's doing okay. There is some damage here and there, but I'm glad that everybody there is doing okay overall. But yeah, everybody that's been affected by it, stay safe and really hope that everything can turn out okay.
And help each other out too.
Yes.
This is a time to bring out the best in humanity. Be there for each other, because it might be a very long time until full support can get there, just because of how bad roads being washed out and rivers being overflowing to the point where you can't get supplies up them. And then by the time they get back down, they won't be deep enough for big enough boats to really have a lot of supplies to help. So be there for your neighbors.
Yeah.
On a somber note, literally as the Braves were clinching tonight, we found out.
Don't make it about the Braves.
No, well,
my gosh, man!
Do you know why
the Braves were clinching? Pete Rose died.
Do you know why I say that?
It's not about the Braves.
No, I'm saying this because Rife Snyder texted me and said, "God damn it, the Braves winning killed Pete Rose," which. Yeah, he might be right about that, because I sent back, because I'm just an awful person at heart sometimes. I said he'd probably bet the Mets to sweep the doubleheader. I know. way below the belt, but it's probably not necessarily inaccurate. But in all seriousness, we don't know what he died from as of this point, but he is the all-time hit king. Passed away at 83, out in, I believe, out in Nevada, out in Clark County. He was found by family members. All-time 4,256 hits, number one, 67 more than Ty Cobb, who's in second place, and that was a record people thought would never go down at first. And to be honest, I'm not sure Rose's record's ever going down either. That's a tremendous number of hits to catch up to. He played most notably for the Reds, but was also a key member of the Phillies in the early 80s runs that they had.
Big part of that World Championship team in 1980.
Yeah, absolutely. 17-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glover, won an MVP, a World Series MVP, won the Clemente Award once, 3 World Series rings, 1 Silver Slugger, the Rookie of the Year, and 3 batting titles. Career 303 average, 375, 409 line across the board. Had 198 stolen bases to go with it, scored 2,165 runs. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of slap singles, but you know what? He got the results out of it. And that was back when baseball still embraced small ball, which honestly it needs to go back to.
I mean, that would be a true definition for one of Joe's Moneyball hitters. The guy got on base, usually because of a hit, but he would draw some walks and things like that. And I mean, once he's on base, you could turn him loose and let him run.
Yeah, he had good wheels. He had surprisingly good wheels. Jason, he averaged 71 walks and 52 strikeouts a season.
Yeah. He had a fantastic career. I still think it's an absolute crime that he was not inducted into the Hall of Fame before his death. I do have a feeling that Manfred, being the type of person he is, will allow him to go into the Hall now that he's gone and can't attend the ceremony. But I think your dad put it best. He said something like, MLB failed you more than you failed MLB. And that's 100% accurate. I dug this out right before the show here because I wanted to show it to you because it's one of my favorite pieces in my collection. But here is a Pete Rose autographed card from Topps. It's graded a 10.
Sweet dude.
And basically, it got certified. It's a Gem Mint 10 from PSA, and it wasn't autographed like out of the pack. Somebody pulled this and they had him autograph it. Can you tell me what makes this card pretty unique? It's not so much the card. It's about the card itself and Pete's issue. So basically, I'll let you think for a moment.
I'm not sure, man.
So it is actually an error card because it's from Topps, and Topps is a licensed product. So Pete Rose should not have been allowed to be on the card. But if you take a look at it, right here off to the side where he autographed is Charlie Hustle himself.
That's amazing.
Topps messed up by putting him on there when he shouldn't have been because of being banned from baseball. I mean, if you look at anything that's been licensed by MLB, such as the Topps trading cards, even look at MLB The Show. If you were to go into the record holders, it doesn't have his name. It just has the number of hits and the year. And I think it has the team or something like that.
Yeah, kind of how NCAA football had to do it way back in the good old days. Quarterback 15, 3,800 passing yards.
Yeah. So nice little Pete Rose autograph card that is going to be stayed in my collection no matter what. And I see we have our first unfortunate comment of the night from Deontay, who I work with. Deontay is a Braves fan as well as you are. He is in Georgia. Deontay, I hope everything's going well down there for you, bud, with the hurricane, and hope that everything's been going well for you. So he's there saying, "Go Braves" with a laughing face. Yeah, enjoy that plane ride out to San Diego, bud.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about that in a little bit here.
Yeah. I just want to read what Alex texted me when I texted him about Pete Rose, about whether he should be in the Hall of Fame or not. And Alex said, I struggle with that. His on-field play deserves it, but the game extends beyond the field, and he didn't respect that. His lack of respect is maybe worse than some steroid-era players. You just can't bet on your own team as a player or a manager, period. So while MLB was shitty and really didn't give him a chance at rehabilitation after his initial indiscretions, I don't know that letting him into the Hall to make up for MLB's failure is the right move either. It's hard. Alex makes a lot of excellent points with that. And I've held a pretty strong stand for the longest time that as long as he was alive, I would not support induction into the Hall of Fame. And now that he's dead, I'm definitely open to it now. I do think Alex raises some good points, though. He failed baseball just as much as baseball failed him, because players are warned in spring training every year since the 1920s not to gamble. And he did it on his own team as a player and a manager. And I have a lot of problems with that, especially from the managerial aspect, because of how much impact you can have on the game based on strategic switches that you will make. But it's of no doubt to say that his on-the-field performance absolutely does merit induction into the Hall of Fame if you take away the gambling.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he'll get in. I think it's one where I think my issue is the fact that gambling has since become legal overall. So I understand why people are saying he shouldn't be in, but to me, it's not as though he was cheating within the game, such as the steroids users. To me, it's more along the lines of it was more of an outside unethical type of thing. So I think he should 100% be in Hall of Fame right now.
Deontay's with you. Pete Rose should be in the Hall. Yes, he gambled, but how many years ago was it? You guys are both right on that. The time is a factor. Again, as a player, it doesn't bother me as much as it did when he was a manager and when he would bet against his own team as a manager. I have problems with that.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, in life and in death, Pete Rose will always be one of the most polarizing characters baseball has ever seen, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Hell of a player, though. Charlie Hustle. Rest in peace. All right. Now let's go back into what we were originally going to open the show with. The playoff chase is finally over. Wow, what a race it was. Great season, honestly, all the way through, start to finish. There were great storylines. You got to see a lot of players that you didn't have as much knowledge about really breaking out. Bobby Witt was good last year. We knew he was going to be a superstar, but we really got to see Bobby Witt become nationally famous this year, and that was awesome to see. He's just going to miss out on the Triple Crown, which is a pity, or not the Triple Crown, the MVP, which is a pity because he had an absolute MVP worthy season, but Aaron Judge absolutely earned it. So
we saw a 50-50 season from Shohei. I mean, there were names that were not on people's radar. I mean, even take a look at Miller from Oakland, becoming a dominant closer out there. Just random names popping up all over the place. Jackson Chourio, who is going to have a shot at the Rookie of the Year here. Just overall, really, really a good season, except for you, Chicago White Sox and Oakland Athletics.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But
we'll
yeah,
talk about it later.
it,
But
it was a fun regular season. I think the playoffs, not one team stands out to me as being
mm-mm.
a dominant runaway with a type of team. I think the playoffs this year are going to be pretty wide open.
Yeah, this is the first time in several years, I think, that we haven't had a 100 game winner coming into the playoffs on
Correct.
either side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's more wide open than it's ever been. Yeah, Deontay agreed. It's possibly the most open playoff we've seen since we started the show, I think, without a doubt.
One of them, yeah.
So the brackets are as such now that games 162 have been played out. In the National League, the Dodgers got the first round bye and home field throughout as the 1 seed. The Phillies take the 2 seed, getting a first round bye. The Dodgers will play the winner of 5-4, which is Braves and Padres. The Phillies will play the winner of 6-3, which is Mets and Brewers. So before we start talking about the American League side of it, I'm excited for this wild card series, man, because the Padres are hot as hell right now. Frankly, so are the Dodgers. Atlanta picked up good momentum coming in today. They only lost but 2 games over the last week, so they're finally starting to turn around. They're not hitting well with runners in scoring position, but that's been an issue all year. It's a hell of a plane ride out there, but they've got the 8:38 odd time start time tomorrow night, so they'll have a little time to get it acclimated. I don't know if Sale's going to start tomorrow or if they're going to start Fried tomorrow. It's going to depend on Sale's back. With the back spasms that were bad enough that they had to yank him last minute out of the clinching start today.
What a coward.
Jason, you've had to skip episodes because of back spasms, bud.
That's true.
I think you can be a little bit empathetic to that.
I would be in the next day though, but no. I think it's one where the Braves knew that having lost game 1, the Mets are probably going to be throwing out not a regular starter, which is what they did. They were going to be throwing out an oddball lineup just to kind of get some rest. Excuse me. So, which we kind of knew was going to happen last week when we were talking about this. Whichever team won game 1 wasn't going to put out their top lineup game 2 because you have a game tomorrow for the playoffs. So you need to rest some guys. My concern for the Braves, not just the fact that they have to travel out to San Diego and the fact that the Padres are, I would say the Padres are the hottest team in baseball right now, is the fact that they had to use a lot of pitchers today.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too.
I mean, you're talking your your closer, Raisel Iglesias, pitched, what was it, 3 innings today or like 2+?
An inning in 2/3, I think, technically.
Okay. So I mean, the offense picked it up a little bit today. The first game,
that was insane.
Deontay listening is a Georgia fan, I believe. Deontay, I was comparing that game today to the Georgia-Bama game on Saturday, where it was just lead after lead change after lead change in the last inning plus, and I think that's going to hurt the Braves with their momentum. Yes, they won game 2, but they're similar to kind of the Phillies here. They're kind of backing their way into the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I see the Braves winning this series. And if they do, if Sale doesn't pitch tomorrow, you're talking only having Sale available to pitch for 1 game in the divisional round and maybe out of the bullpen in a deciding game 5 or something. But the Braves have a tough task ahead of them.
If Sale would have to go game 2, 2, 3, 4, he would be available for game 3.
Right.
Because the
DS in a 5-game series, that's only 1 game though.
Yeah, he's probably going to be okay to go tomorrow. I'm hoping. Um, yeah, I'm just catching up on Deontay's comments here. Yeah, Pirates are scary. Braves are fighting. He's right.
Pirates aren't
Offense.
scary. The Padres are, though.
Padres, yeah. Well, the Pirates are scary when you consider the number of players who have been duped by them over the years because they're asshole owner. But more on that later. If we can get Olsen, Harris, and Ozzie started, we have a chance. Absolutely. Hoping the back spasms are not that bad. He's an all over Georgia guy. Honestly, when we went down game one, I was legitimately worried too that we would not get in, even with the Mets resting a lot of guys, because I knew Alonso was going to play. Acuna is going to be a regular there next year, I think, from what he's showing as a rookie, as a part-time rookie this year. He's going to be a full-timer and definitely a strong consideration for a rookie of the year next year, because I don't think they brought him up soon enough to waste the rookie eligibility. No. I think he'll be eligible next year.
Yeah, he only came up within the last few weeks, so.
Yeah. So it was I was on tetherhooks for most of the afternoon, as you can, going from 3-0 to down 6-3 to up 7-6 to down 8, like, and the fact that all went slammed back and forth like that in 2.5 innings is just insane. And I think Snicker made the right move sending Schwellenbach back out there in the first game. He had thrown 75 pitches to that point. You want to try and save your bullpen. And then he did the right thing, pulling him after the first guy went 11 pitches deep and then got a double. That's exactly how you handle that. Sometimes you can pull, and bringing out Jimenez, bringing out Iglesias. Those are the moves he was going to make regardless. Sometimes you make the right moves and it just doesn't work out.
He brought Iglesias in the 8th inning, didn't he?
Because Jimenez didn't get an out.
So I would have hesitated to put Iglesias in there because you're having him go the 8th, and then you brought in somebody who's not used to being a closer and in the 9th. And I think that pressure potentially could have gotten to him.
We still had the lead at that point, and that's why you bring the closer in there. I don't mind. That's kind of like how, think about the Guardians, who were then at that point the Indians, how they used to use Andrew Miller as, even though he was their best pitcher, he wasn't always the closer. He was the fireman that they would bring in when they needed the best pitcher at the right, kind of like the reverse of the golden batter for the Bananas. It's the golden pitcher. They would use him as the best guy against the best hitter at the biggest point in the game. And I think that's what Snit was trying to do there. That really doesn't bother me that much. It really does emphasize how much it hurt, though, to lose AJ Minter, to not have that power lefty late in the game, because he's out for the year after having hip surgery for an impingement. Deontay pointed for Schwellenbach, those 75 pitches going into the inning, 56 of those were strikes. Like he was dealing. The Mets, he I think threw 20 innings against the Mets this year and allowed 1 run.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous for a rookie. So, hey, they're in. It's going to be a tight series. I mean, obviously, Schwellenbach's not going to be on the wild card roster. They're going to need to let him rest since he pitched today. So it's going to be pitching wise for Atlanta. It's going to be Sale. It's going to be Fried. God, I hope it's not Charlie Morton, but it might have to be Charlie Morton because they used Reynaldo Lopez out of the bullpen in the second game today.
Okay. I missed that part. So that's going to hurt.
They might not bring him in. Here, let me.
So you're looking at a 3 of Sale, Fried, and potentially Morton, or even go Fried, Sale, Morton.
Or just go bullpen in game 3. Which
that's. I don't think I would want to leave the season on the line with a bullpen game, but
I don't either. But I could. Let me see how many pitches Reynaldo Lopez threw. He was pretty efficient. Oh, he only threw 15 pitches. He'd probably be okay to go game 3.
Yeah, I would think he can go game 3.
Yeah, he pitched Saturday, so he should be okay to go.
So prediction time then. Who are your wild card winners for the National League side?
Well, I'm going to go Homer. I'm going to go Braves, but I'm going to say Braves in 3. I think it's going to take every game to get that. I think it's going to go Padres, Braves, Braves. As much as I'd love a sweep, I'm not sure we're going to see a sweep because of how good those two teams are.
So you're thinking the Padres win in the Chris Sale game, or are you thinking that Fried would be tomorrow?
If Sale goes tomorrow, it's going to be Braves, Padres, Braves. I think Fried's the game we're going to lose.
Okay.
No, that is home for Fried. I mean, he's a California guy, so who knows?
So I'm going to take the Padres, not just because I dislike the Braves and would have been just fine and happy if the Mets had won both games today, but the main reason here, like looking at this objectively, the Padres have the pitching, the hitting, and what happens in the playoffs usually is the hottest team wins.
Mm-hmm.
And the Padres are the hottest team in baseball right now. So I'm going to take the Padres. If Sale starts tomorrow, I think the Padres can beat Sale, and that would end up leading to a 2-game sweep. If Sale starts game 2, I think I still see the Padres winning, but in 3.
Okay.
So for the sake of this, just for the fun and the bold predictions, I'm going to say the Padres sweep the Braves in 2.
It could happen. Anything could happen.
Yeah. I mean, they have the plane ride there. Nothing about this is telling me that the Braves realistically have a shot. Deontay, we're blaming the layoff again for losing to the Phils.
I didn't say. Oh, Deontay said that. Okay, I was about to say I said nothing about.
Yeah, I said Deontay at the start of that. No, I heard it from you enough last year too. So, and the year before.
Yeah, well, I still think they need to do something about that.
Sure.
Hold on. I'm just pulling something up here on the Padres. There's one thing I wanted to see on Baseball Reference.
Deontay liked that comment, so that's fun. But yeah, I
like this guy. Bring him up.
Yeah, Deontay's one of my buddies from Webb down in our Georgia location. So
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I just don't see the Braves winning this one. I think their offense has been cold. Yeah, the Braves have a little momentum just because
they are so streaky this year.
The only momentum the Braves have is that they won game 2 today to get in. But it was almost a pity win. It was like the Mets were like, all right, fine, here, have it. Enjoy your flight out to San Diego.
Watching that game, I don't think I agree with that. The only reason I might say the Mets threw it for the game 2 is because they didn't want the 5 seed and have to go to San Diego, which that I could absolutely understand. All right.
Yep.
No, that's still not it. Wow, they don't have the right lefty splits for the Padres. All right.
So then moving over to the other side of the bracket, you have the Mets traveling to Milwaukee against the Brewers.
Have beaten the Brewers one time this year, and that was yesterday. That is the only time this year they have beaten the Brewers. Will it give them enough momentum, especially with the big win in the first game of the doubleheader today, to make a difference against the Brewers in their pitching? I'm not 100% convinced it is.
Yeah. If the Mets were hosting the Brewers, I would absolutely be going in the direction of the Mets because the Mets have been insanely hot at home. With this being the case, the Brewers are able to rest up a little bit today. They have that off day.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting the Mets with the Mets not having an off day.
And going from Milwaukee to Atlanta, back to Milwaukee in rapid succession. I mean, it's only one time zone, but still.
Right. So I think I have to take the Brewers in this one. kind of the same reason that I was taking the Padres. I think the Brewers can get it done at home, and the Mets, I think, are just having too much back and forth. Their pitching, I think, is going to be a little suspect, especially again using so many bullpen arms today.
Diaz, I would be shocked.
Edwin Diaz is going to be unavailable for Game 1.
Yeah, because he threw 26 pitches yesterday. He had an extremely difficult outing today. I'm sure he was over 20 pitches today.
Yeah, he pitched 2 innings.
Yeah.
So I think that the Mets, I think, are going to struggle out the gate. I think they lose Game 1. Now, can they string it all together and maybe take Game 2 and force Game 3? Sure, but they've had to basically empty the tank just to make to this point. So the betting money would be the betting money. Rest in peace, Pete Rose. Would be would be on the Brewers.
Damn. Do you know when the Mets threw Severino last?
I don't.
Let me look here, see if
I haven't had to really pay attention to the Mets since the Phils beat them to win the division. So
he pitched in the loss to Atlanta on Tuesday. 3, 4, 5. 1. Okay, so they'll have Severino fully rested to go in game. So at least they'll have their best pitcher to go in Game 1 fully available. Who did they start in game? I'm going to be honest. I don't know who they started in Game 1 because I wasn't paying that close attention because I didn't get to the back room to turn my phone on to the radio broadcast until late. Okay, they started McGill. That's right. Yeah, so Severino's available in Game 1. So at least they have their best pitcher available. I don't like the matchup, though, to be completely honest. I don't think their pitching matches up as well as Milwaukee's does.
And I think Milwaukee's pen is better too. I think Milwaukee's pen has been a little more dominant lately.
Yeah.
And again, home field plays a big part in this right now. So Deontay is agreeing with us here. He likes the Brewers. The Mets just don't have it.
The Mets this year 43-38 on the road, which isn't bad, but the Brewers are 47-34 at home. That's pretty damn good. Would be the best in the National League at home if it weren't for the Phillies and the Dodgers. The Phillies going 54-27, the Dodgers 52-29. So, I think it's going to be Brewers. I don't know about a sweep. I think it might go all 3.
Okay.
Probably Brewers, Mets, Brewers.
So do we want to go the following rounds then with our picks, or are we going to do that another time?
Let's do the American League first, and then we'll come back and move on to the DS.
Sounds good.
So in the American League, in a much less exciting race to the finish, although with some surprising results nevertheless, because I don't know about you, dude. I did not have the Tigers anywhere close to sniffing a wild card bid this year. So,
not even that, but I didn't have the Tigers losing the last 2 games of the season to the White Sox to fall all the way down to 6. So
they were holding. It looked like middle of last week they were going to hold 5, and then they dropped it. That's wild. So the American League is as thus. The Yankees have earned the number 1 overall seed. They have home field throughout, and they have the first round bye. The other first round bye went to the Cleveland Guardians. Still feels weird to say. I know. Just FYI, for the World Series, the Yankees would only have home field over the Brewers, and anybody below the Brewers, the Phillies and the Dodgers would hold the home field advantage over all of the American League.
Yeah, that's where the win yesterday for the Phils to close out the season against the Nationals was huge because the Yankees had the season tiebreaker by winning 2-1, or they may have swept the Phils. I don't remember.
I think they swept them, but it doesn't matter now. You've got the win-loss advantage.
Yeah, so you got that one game lead over the Yankees in records. So yeah, Dodgers and Phils have home field if they get there.
Looking at the wild card round, number 4 Baltimore Orioles will be hosting the number 5 Kansas City Royals. The winner of that series will move on to face the Yankees. And in the other wild card round, you have the Houston Astros, the winners of the AL West, which was by far one of the weaker divisions overall, hosting the Detroit Tigers. And they will go on to play the Guardians. The winner of that series will play the Guardians. So we'll save the series you and I are definitely more interested in for second. So first we'll talk about Tigers and Astros. God, I would love to see the Astros just get swept and beaten up. I don't see it happening, though.
Yeah, I would love the Tigers to win this one. Again, a friend of mine lives out in the Detroit area. Huge Tigers fan. He's just pumped that they're there, and the Astros are going to win this one. And I think this one may be a sweep in too.
Skubal, though. You're going to have Skubal in game one, so that might stop the sweep.
It depends on what kind of run support they give him. If they don't give him the run support when he comes out of the game, and you turn over to the bullpen, I think the Astros will take it.
Yeah, that Tigers bullpen is that's probably the worst bullpen of the. No, yeah, I think that's the worst bullpen in the entire playoffs. I'm looking around, and even as beaten up as the Mets are, I'd still take their bullpen over the Tigers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd like to see 3. I would not be shocked if it's a split, if it's a sweep.
Yeah.
And then for the much more, what I think is going to be an extremely entertaining wild card round in Baltimore between the Royals and the Orioles. Now, the Royals stumbled into the end as Atlanta did take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta at the end of the season. So the Royals, not a ton of momentum moving in, but they did get to bump up to the 5 seed from the 6 when Detroit just kind of tail dived in the last series inexplicably. So I'm really liking the Orioles coming into this, especially Corbin Burns leading off this. Corbin's got playoff pitching experience, and that's going to be incredibly valuable for an extremely young team. I know the Orioles were playoff bound last, but this is a damn young team still. And a lot of first-time guys in, so it'll be good to have an experienced guy like Corbin Burns kind of being the anchor to keep things down for them.
Yeah, I think my concern with the Orioles is after Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
Because you essentially go to Zach Eflin. I can't even the Orioles have had so many starting pitchers go this year because of injuries.
It's Burns, Eflin, Dean Kremer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's
their bullpen has been pretty solid this year. Their offense has clicked. Anthony Santander has had an absolutely great contract year. He'll look really great in red pinstripes next year.
They're not letting him go.
But the other thing here that's going to be a factor is the fact that last year the Orioles got swept into by the eventual world champion Texas Rangers. That was the first playoff baseball that the Orioles experienced in years.
Yeah.
They have experience now, and they don't have the rest that they did last year, so they're able to continue with their momentum a little bit here. And I think they win the series, but I think they have to win it in 2. If it goes 3, I don't feel confident in that. But just for fun, I'm going to say they'll take it in 3. I think the Royals are too good to not at least push and potentially take 1. Yeah, I'm going to say Orioles in 3. But it's gonna be a tough series. But the Orioles have the playoff experience now, and they have that home field advantage. Oriole Park at Camden Yards is just going to be rocking.
Party. Yeah, it's going to be a party. The reason I don't immediately jump on the reason I don't immediately jump full onto the Orioles bandwagon for this series, I do think they're going to win, is that the pitching that the Kansas City Royals has, dude, it's really good. Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, Michael Waka is their 1, 2, 3. I mean, Reagans and Burns is going to be a great one. I like Lugo more than I like Eflin in game 2, and I like Waka way more than anybody else in their 3 to 5. Also, I forgot that based on injuries, Sir Anthony Dominguez is the closer by default. I don't really like that.
He's been pretty solid for them, actually. He's had a little bit of a resurgence for them since leaving Philadelphia. Their issue is they don't really have much of anything else
to get to him. And as the Phillies found out last year and the last 2 years, he really can't. As he gets grounded down more in the playoffs, it's not great. The results aren't there.
We have a comment here from our one of our show favorites here, Matt. One of our resident Orioles fans, along with Big Jim here, saying that closer is more by committee because Hyde doesn't really cling to one guy, and that makes sense, especially with Bautista still being out for this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Matt, if you're still listening in here, who all will the Orioles rely on in different situations? I'm trying to think, and again, there's been so many pitchers just coming and going with that organization that it's hard to pin down one guy.
Also, Yennier Cano and Danny Colombe, I think, are the other two big guys for them. So we'll see. But
and the unfortunate thing is they do not have Grayson Rodriguez for the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah. Webb and Colombe, the high leverage guys, Matt just said. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot they have Jacob Webb. Yeah, he's a good cannon to have out there too.
Matt, how are you feeling about this series that starts tomorrow? Are you feeling the Orioles? Are you feeling the Royals? And how many games do you think this one will go? I'm just curious to know your thoughts. I know Matt has had some rough sports here lately as a fan of the Raiders, and he's a Georgia
dude.
He's a Georgia Bulldogs fan, so he had a tough one Saturday. So I'm waiting for the Jason ... Why? Because that tends to be a thing lately. But
well, here's the other thing too, though. As good as the Royals pitching is, bat wise, they've got Bobby Witt, who's otherworldly, absolutely. Salvi's got another run in him, he does. But, you got a whole lot of guys that have never played in the playoffs except for Salvi, because the last time they were in the playoffs was that World Series run they had.
Yep. That was 2015. And again, as Matt's pointing out here, the ALCS was Orioles and Royals.
Yeah. I like the Orioles bats better, and I think those bats have a better possibility of putting big numbers up once the starters are out of the game. Honestly, as good as Kansas City has been, once the starters are gone, I will take Baltimore's offense over that bullpen. Yeah, Matt said that was an unbelievably painful sweep. I'll forever hate Lorenzo Cain and Alex Gord. Yeah, Cain was nuts that series, dude. He went off like he has never gone off any other time in his career. Yeah, it's a good thing the series is just in Baltimore, because the Royals would bring Cain out to throw the first pitch of one game just to piss off the Orioles if there was a game in KC.
Yeah, Matt, I think we're liking the Orioles' chances here, mainly because they're at home and they have that playoff experience. So, yeah, pulling for those O's, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see Baltimore go deep. I really would. Even if I don't get my crazy early season prediction of Braves Orioles, I'd love to see the Orioles back in the World Series again. Matt said, I like our momentum, but we're so streaky, it's hard to say which offense shows up. Casey's pitching scares the shit out of me too. I'm glad I'm not playing them in round one. But again, I like their starters a lot more than I like their bullpen. I think the Baltimore bats can do damage to that KC bullpen. and even potentially the KC starters if they get lucky and get hot early. So, all right, so that's the wild card prognostications from us. Let's advance it. DS, since that starts this weekend and we won't have an episode before then. So we'll move it back to the National League because, again, it's the better league and we know it better. So the Dodgers are going to get the winners of Braves and Padres. That's going to be a freaking slugfest no matter who gets through to the Dodgers.
Well, I'd say go out, since you said that you think that the Braves are going to move on. Are you taking the Dodgers or the Braves?
I'm going to run it till they get knocked out. Braves in 5. It's not going to be. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that the Braves have enough to get past the Dodgers, but they played them pretty well in the last series. They played against them in Atlanta, so as long as they can steal one in Los Angeles, there's a chance.
At least you're objective and not a homer, right? No. So I took the Padres over the Braves in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the Padres over the Dodgers in the NLDS. I think the Dodgers starting pitching is absolutely brutal, and aside from they do have good bats, but I think again if the Padres get through, they're going to still be the hottest team in baseball, and the Dodgers' history. It has not been kind to them as far as the NLDS goes. So I'm going to take the Padres, and I'm going to take the Padres in 4.
So I'm looking at the depth chart right now. You've got Yamamoto, but again, Yamamoto's never pitched in the playoffs before, so we don't know what that's going to be like. You've got Flaherty too. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Kershaw, if he's healthy by that point, will be 3.
Doubtful.
I don't think he will be. And honestly, let's be real. You don't throw Clayton Kershaw in the playoffs anymore. You just don't do it. Unless you're playing Atlanta, then do it so we can beat him up and then don't ever do it again. Bueller's 4. Bueller's been a shell of himself this year.
Mm-hmm.
And their number 5 is Landon Knack. Because remember, Glasnow's
they probably won't use him though, because in a series now you don't need that 5th starter, which is why I'm thankful because of Tyler Walker. But
I know that. I'm just pointing out their starting pitching really doesn't terrify me that much outside of Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
Glasnow's done. He's not pitching.
Right. Miller hasn't done well.
No. Flaherty's been solid, but he's never been known as a big guy in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
At least not since pre-Tommy John St. Louis days, which we have not seen anything close to that level of pitching out of him since.
Yeah. I think Padres beat the Dodgers, Dodgers beat the Braves. I think if it's Dodgers-Braves, you're going to have very high-scoring games with those two pitching staffs. And I think the offense favors the Dodgers a bit in this one, especially with the Braves missing some of their big players, like Austin Riley and Acuna.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, they've had players step up all year, which is why they're in the position they are. But
Matt makes a good point. Tigers Flaherty was lights out, but that's 100 innings ago.
Right.
He hasn't been like that for the Dodgers. And again, the Dodgers do tend to go into a coma at this time of the year. That's a great way to phrase that, Matt. We all predicted it. Let's face it. We all predicted it in the preseason that the Dodgers were going to take the West and then get knocked out of the DS. And honestly, I could see it.
Yeah. For me, it's especially with the Padres. Padres, I think, will end up being in the NLCS.
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't. If they get past Atlanta, I think they just chew through the Dodgers. Yeah.
So let's head over to the other side there. So we both took the Brewers.
Yeah.
To come to Philly.
Even if the Mets get lucky and somehow get past the Brewers, the Phillies are going to obliterate the Mets. I think we can just put that out there and be done with it.
See, I don't know about that.
Really?
The Mets are a team that scare me a little bit. Especially just they get 3 games at home. you know, well, no, I'm sorry, they would get
No,
2 games
two.
at home because we're talking the NLDS.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing that the Phils have going for them is they have been dominant at home this year.
As I pointed out earlier.
You mentioned 56-27, I think it was. So, or 57-26, something like that.
54-27.
54-27. Okay.
Best
So
home record in baseball this year.
yeah. So I think the Phils win no matter who they play. The Phils dominated the Brewers in the season series. 4 games to 2, I think. I'm pretty sure it was 4 games because they swept them in Philly and took 1 in Milwaukee. So they won 4-2. You're going to have a rotation of Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, and Sanchez. Excuse me. Ranger needs to turn it on and become the Ranger of the past. He's been struggling since he came back from the injured list. The offense has been cold lately, but I mean it's home. It's playoff baseball in Philadelphia. The fans are going to be absolutely crazy. I will be there on Sunday for game 2. And I'm really looking forward to that. So that means I'll probably have Aaron Nola. I know Ron was talking about how the Phils might throw out Christopher Sanchez for game 2 because he does better at home. I don't see that happening. You give yourself the best chance to win, which is Wheeler Nola. If you can go up 2-0 in a series, you do what you can to go up 2-0 in a series. So
especially when you have home field, you don't want to give up that game at home.
Right. So I think.
And when did Wheeler pitch last? Saturday, Sunday.
So they'll be on
perfect rest. Yeah.
Just
definitely
over.
Definitely don't screw with the rotation then. Ron, what the hell are you thinking, dude?
Yeah, you can't change what's worked so far. And I think against the Brewers, I think the Phils win. I'm going to say in 4. If they were to somehow face the Mets, I would say 5.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a sweep. I don't think either of the DS series will be a sweep, no matter who wins. Usually, the teams that get to the DS are just too good to be swept, generally speaking. We see that almost every year. You don't usually see a really bad team get lucky enough to get that far because the wild card round usually weeds that out. I mean, I like the Brewers pitching. I don't think I like the Brewers pitching against Philadelphia that much. They'll probably get one game. They'll probably get game 3 in Milwaukee, and then the Phillies will probably take game 4. All right, moving it over to the ALDS side. So we both were unanimous in that the Astros are going to probably curb stomp the poor little Tigers out. So Astros Guardians, actually a pretty intriguing matchup. I like the Guardians pitching way more than I like the Astros pitching, and the Guardians bats have been solid all year. I mean, Jose freaking Ramirez, man. There's not much that dude can't do.
Yeah. And the thing we need to remember here is with these divisional series, the team that's coming in is not going to have their top 2 starters going right away in this series. Right. You're going to have basically an ace versus a 3, a number 2 versus a number 4 to start.
Or a 2. Well, it might be a 2 versus 1 on short rest.
Depending on how they go with that. But I mean, I know you're liking the Guardians, and I think I'm going to agree with you on this one.
Yeah. And I know this is a very biased against the Astros podcast. I understand that. We will always be that way, but this has nothing to do with bias. This is straight up what we've seen on the field and on paper this year.
As much as I love to hate on the Astros, this is not because of my Astros hate. This is more of, I think the Guardians just have what it takes.
Yeah. And then potentially Orioles Yankees. That's a juicy freaking matchup.
I can't imagine Matt and Jim dealing with an Orioles Yankees divisional series. to be a fly on the wall of their respective houses.
I would pay a lot of money for that. Let's be real. I would pay a lot of money to be that fly because that would be so freaking entertaining.
Yeah, now, Matt, I don't know if you're still listening, but if you're listening, if I were to bring some liquor over, can I watch an Orioles Yankees game with you? Because I mean, I have the Orioles stuff, so I'll wear a Norfolk Tides hat, you know.
So the Orioles went 8-5 against the Yankees this year, but I do want to point out the Yankees. No, the Orioles did take 2 out of 3 in that last series in New York. I know they played most of the games in the first half of the year, but I know there's a lot of questions about the Orioles and their pitching. I like them. I think they could take down the Yankees. Matt said, liquor in a suit of armor for when things were getting through. Comment of the night right there.
Nice.
But I truly, I like the Orioles in that matchup. If it's Orioles Yankees, I do like the Orioles in that matchup.
All right, I'm going to do this,
Talk
Matt.
About high scoring though. That would be the highest scoring playoff series in the entire playoffs, I think.
So, while I agree with you, just because I want to see the Orioles win, Matt, this is for you. I'm going to try it. There's no way in hell that the Orioles win this series. The Yankees are going. The Yankees are going to sweep the Orioles in 3. Yeah, the Yankees are just going to absolutely curb stomp the Orioles, and they stand no chance.
Let's play devil's advocate for a second and say that somehow the Royals get unbelievably lucky and somehow manage to slip past the Orioles.
Yankees. In 3.
I was about to say, you don't think the Royals stand a chance? Because I don't either. Okay.
No.
So let's hope it's the Orioles. And I'm if it's Orioles Yankee, I hope it is a 5-game slugfest. Yeah, you better screenshot that. He's not going to say that too often.
Yeah, I got you, Matt. I have to make up for everything that I was saying as far as the Georgia Bama game goes.
Yeah, you do owe him for that. All right, so the schedule for the playoffs wild card round is 10-1 through 10-3. All games are played at the higher seed stadium. Division round best of 5, 10-5 through 10-12. The championship round best of 7 is 10-13 through 10-22. We will get an episode in between the DS and the CS, I promise. I don't know when, but we will figure that out. World Series best of 7, 10-25 through 11-2, which is unbelievably late to be playing the World Series. But there is a wrinkle this year. If both the NLCS and ALCS are finished by 10-19, so neither series goes more than 5 games, then the World Series will go from 10-22 to 10-30. So, little wrinkle to that this year. The broadcast, the wildcard games will be on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2. The NLDS, NLCS will all be on Fox or FS1. ALDS, ALCS will be shown on TNT Sports simulcasting on TBS, True TV, and Max. World Series will be shown as, I think it always is, on Fox. I can't remember the last time it wasn't Fox. I'm also glad it won't be Joe Buck this year. So glad for that.
Mm-hmm.
One note, all games on TNT platforms, Fox and FS1 will be available to MLB TV subscribers who are authenticated subscribers to those networks via participating paid TV provider. So if you're like me and you just watch via MLB TV, but you don't have a paying provider, you will not be able to watch on MLB TV. You will have to do what I normally do and borrow somebody's login for Fox so I can see games that way. And you know what? That is what it is. No big deal. All righty. Jason, do you want to name the Down on the Farm champions this week, or do you want to save that for next time?
I can run through these pretty quickly. I didn't go into a whole lot of details. So basically, all of minor league baseball is done and has wrapped up for the season. So just to give you the information on who our different champions were, we'll go in order from the low level up. We'll start with the Atlantic League, which is the independent league that is kind of like a guinea pig. and a tester. I know, and a tester for Major League Baseball. So if you've listened to our show before, you know that we are Lancaster Stormers fans, and their rival, the York Revolution, ended up being the Stormers in the divisional series, and then went on to win.
Not just beating, they obliterated and curb stomped the Stormers. Let's be real.
It's 2 games to 1, 3 games to 1, or
but the scores were not pretty.
One of them wasn't. They were all overall kind of close. But anyway, but the York Revolution ended up going on to win their 4th Atlantic League title, tying the Stormers with league titles for second most in league history. They ended up being the Charleston Dirty Birds in a sweep, 3 games to none, and with a climactic but anticlimactic walk-off win in Game 3 at home in York. They were down 1-0 in the 9th inning, tied it up, and they got the ever so common walk-off fielder's choice. Runners on first and third with 1 out, ground ball, tried to turn 2, and the runner from York just beat the throw to first, so the title clinching run came home. Single A. Your Florida State League champions are the Palm Beach Cardinals, affiliate of St. Louis.
Who would have guessed?
The Carolina League, Fredericksburg Nationals. So again, pretty easy there, the Washington Nationals. Your California League champions were the Modesto Nuts, who are the affiliate of the Mariners.
I have to say, if their social media team did not make a D's Nuts joke in their championship post, I'm going to be very disappointed.
D's Nuts are champs, you know. And then South Atlantic League, we have the Bowling Green Hot Rods winning, and they are the affiliate for the Tampa Bay Rays. Northwest League, the Spokane Indians, affiliate of the Rockies. The Midwest League, the winners were the Lake County Captains for the Guardians. And then moving into Double A, we have the Arkansas Travelers, affiliate of the Mariners. So the Mariners have 2 minor league titles this year, which is the most out of all these here. Otherwise, everybody is a different affiliate. The Southern League, White Sox, you have something you can look forward to. You can at least enjoy. The Birmingham Barons ended up winning the Southern League title. And then in the Eastern League, which is where, at least for me, the Reading Phils are in.
I watched the Eastern League because of the Senators, too.
Yeah, so the Erie Seawolves, the affiliate for the Tigers, ended up winning that this year.
I've seen them play more than a few times the last couple of years. I'm not surprised to hear that.
Mm-hmm. And then moving up to AAA, this is the only one that has a national championship between the 2 leagues. So the Pacific Coast League winners were the Sugarland Space Cowboys, who used to be in the Atlantic League as the Sugarland Skeeters.
Yeah, I thought so.
They are the AAA affiliate for the Astros. And then the International League, we have the Omaha Storm Chasers, who are the affiliate for the Royals. So they faced off in a 1-game winner-take-all in Reno, I believe, or maybe Las Vegas. It's Nevada.
Yeah.
But anyway, the overall AAA National Championship was won by the Sugarland Space Cowboys, who won that game 13-6.
Good for them.
So that is a wrap this year on minor league baseball, and a wrap for me this year with Down on the Farm.
Awesome. I just love the team names. I will never not love that part of Down on the Farm.
The one unfortunate thing is the Montgomery Biscuits were a runner-up.
Oh, no.
In one of those Double-A title matches.
Oh, that's too bad. Southern League, if I remember right. From Matt Sugarland Skeeter's, home of former legendary pitcher Tracy McGrady.
Yes.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
I'm pretty sure Roger Clemens pitched for them too a little bit.
Yeah. All right, White Sox fans, your agony is over with a 41-121 record, setting the modern era, which is 1900s, on record with 121 losses in a season. Granted, they did go 5-1 over the final week, fighting hard as hell to avoid it. Yeah, Matt confirmed Clemens did as well. Yeah, wow. They finished with a 253 winning percentage and a negative 306 run differential. God, those are fucking video game numbers. They went an amazing 18-63 on the road and 23-90 against teams with a 500 or better record. Now, they definitely had some tough luck. Their expected win-loss record was 48-114, but this was a team that was not expected to do well, and they certainly lived down to those expectations this year, Jason. Before spring training, Baseball Perspectives released their annual the PECOTA standing projections. The White Sox were given a flat 0% chance of reaching the playoffs, so they nailed that one. They badly whiffed on the Tigers and Royals. The Tigers, they only gave a 5.65% chance, and the Royals a half a percentage chance. So PECOTA's not always perfect, guys, but they nailed the White Sox this year, just like pretty much the rest of baseball. They do have an opening at manager. Interim manager Grady Sizemore is expected to be one of the leading contenders, so we'll see what they do there. I got to be honest, I wouldn't want the job, not with Jerry.
I would want out of that. Yeah, I would want out of there.
Reinsdorf, speaking of the Devil, did release a letter to fans apologizing for the season. One thing he noted is that their farm system is getting stronger, which, as you pointed out, showed with Birmingham winning the Southern League title. And their single-A team, Kannapolis, did reach the Carolina League playoffs. My personal opinion on that is it would have been nice if Reinsdorf would have also noted the fans' loyalty with more than words by guaranteeing to freeze ticket concession and merchandise rates for next year. Just to say, hey, we screwed up.
Why would an owner ever do that?
Yeah, I know, right? Well,
speaking of terrible owners,
yeah.
But no, the White Sox. Just a quick touch point on the White Sox here. Historically bad season. I have to give credit though to their social media team, especially at the end here. The social media team on Twitter and whatnot, they were on fire. You know,
we
they were like
scored more runs than the opposing team. For final scores, please see MLB.com.
Yeah, they would not post the final scores. They would just tell fans things to do. And like one of them would be the meme of the highway signs where one says post the final score, and I forget what
post literally anything else.
Post literally anything else, and then it was the car going to the post literally anything else. So with the caption of White Sox social media team. So I mean, they made the best of a terrible situation.
When you're that bad, you have to have a little fun with yourself. You have to. There's absolutely no reason not to have some fun with that. And hey, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And then speaking of just god-awful, terrible shitbag owners, the Athletics are leaving Oakland. On September 26th, they played their final home game in Oakland in front of 46,889 fans there to say goodbye to their team. It was the largest crowd for a major league team's final home game in a city in the history of baseball, which that, you don't often see that because oftentimes you have the fan base is usually screaming mad that they're losing their team and they don't want to support the team at all. And that, I understand that. I would certainly feel the same way if I was a fan of a local team and they left. So manager Mark Kotze after the game said, quote, "It was difficult. Today was an emotional day all around. From the time I drove in right now, I'm still kind of reeling right now. This speech comes from the heart. I'm as much an Oakland A's as a major league player and manager because this is where home began and this is hopefully where home finishes. I couldn't be more proud to represent this organization on this day and being able to honor it in the way that we did with the win." And every player, coach, and trainer stood behind him. They tipped their caps to the crowd. They joined in on one final "Let's Go Oakland" chant, which was ruckus to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Man. First pitches were thrown out by A's legends Ricky Henderson and Dale Stewart. Barry Zito, who I completely forgot is a fantastic singer, sang the national anthem. I always think of Zito from his ridiculous pitching, but damn. I truly forgot he was such a good musician and singer. The groundskeepers, props, they stayed late after the games with shovels. They were filling bottles and cups and bags with dirt from their track for the fans. That was touching and heartbreaking all at the same time.
Meanwhile, you have the owner there was probably kind of going. It was what Fisher. Fisher's the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fisher's probably going. Why are you doing that? We can sell it.
There, there was a fan there with a sign. I was here for the first pitch in 1968. I was here for the last pitch in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Passons tweeted, "The Oakland A's were killed by greed. Do not allow the people responsible for this to spin it in any other way. John Fisher did not have to move this team. Major League Baseball and its owners did not need to be complicit in it. This was a choice, a wrong choice. History will sneer." And Passons nailed it. Passons absolutely nailed it on that one.
Yeah.
The letter that John Fisher sent to Oakland fans on the 23rd, just...
Oh, it's terrible.
This upcoming series for the Texas Rangers will be the final game of the A's storied 57 years in Oakland. And while the A's previously played Philadelphia and Kansas City, Oakland has been home for the greatest era in the franchise more than 123-year history. So why are you leaving, asshole? 4 World Series championships, 6 pennants, 17 division titles, 7 Hall of Famers, Charlie Finley and his mule, Billy Ball, Reggie and his incomparable swagger, Raleigh and the handlebar mustache, Dave Stewart and the stare, Billy King's Holy Toledo, Ricky, the greatest leadoff hitter in baseball history. The list goes on and on. Triumphs, near misses, the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake in Game 3 of the Bay Bridge Series, the 20-game win streak, a Hollywood movie, an unmatched cast of players, coaches, and fans. We've had it all. And that, I know, is what makes our departure so very hard. The A's are a part of the fabric of Oakland, the East Bay, and the entire Bay Area. Then why are you ripping it apart, dickhead? When Lou Wolf and I bought the team in 2005, our dream was to win world championships and build a new ballpark in Oakland. Over the next 18 years, we did our very best to make that happen. You did not. We proposed and pursued 5 different locations in the Bay Area, and despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get a deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short because you're greedy. Only in 2021, after 16 years of working exclusively on developing a home in the Bay Area and faced with a binding MLB agreement to find a new home by 2024, did we begin to explore taking the team to Las Vegas. There are millions of dedicated and passionate A's fans in Oakland and around the world. Countless dedicated staff members and Oakland Coliseum employees have poured their hearts into this team, and their efforts have meant so much to our community. I know there is great disappointment and even bitterness. No. Though I wish I could speak to each one of you individually. No, you don't. They would beat the ever-loving hell out of you. You wouldn't make it through 5 guys. I can tell you that this from the heart. We tried. No, you didn't. Staying in Oakland was our goal. It was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. Yeah, you did. And for that, I'm genuinely sorry. No, you're cashing checks to the bank. You are not sorry in the slightest, you lying shitbag. Looking ahead, I hope you will join our beloved A's as we move forward on this amazing journey. I hope I will see you again supporting the green and gold, and I hope we will make you... John, shut the fucking hell up. You left because you are a greedy Scrooge-like shitbag who hasn't been scared by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve yet. You are making money hand over fist from collective bargaining because you don't field a competitive roster outside of your playoff years. And then as quickly as things turn south, you sell off anything. That's why Atlanta has both Matt Olson and Sean Murphy right now. That's why other teams have everybody else that has had even a modicum of talent. I'm surprised you didn't sell off Miller this year. I'm shocked because
I think he would have had Miller not gotten hurt. I think he would have had Miller not gotten hurt right before the deadline.
That's true. You are making money hand over fist. It is ridiculous that the owners of professional sports franchises across the country, in all sports, not just baseball, in all sports, that they are holding cities hostage by demanding publicly funded stations when they are all when these guys are all billionaires and could probably fund nearly the entire project by themselves. It's a travesty. It is an absolute travesty.
Yeah, my heart breaks for the fans of that team, especially because they had the reverse protest where they sold out the stadium. I think it was only last year. They showed up and basically sold out the final home game. That people were in line for tickets at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
The fans love that team.
Yeah.
the fans not going to the games was not because they didn't support the team. It was because they didn't support Fisher.
There were more fans outside of every one of those home games tailgating, partying, celebrating their team than there was attendance inside that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the most passionate fan base in baseball. It might not be number one, but damn it, it's a top 5. And they showed it in that last game. It took the police 4 hours after the game was over to finally get everybody out of there so people could go home. 4 hours. That's not a fan base that hates the team. That's a fan base that rightfully hates its owner, who is the worst owner in sports.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. As much as I hate Bob Nutting, cutting Rowdy Tellez right before the last series so he doesn't hit an incentive bonus for game. No, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, John Fisher is the worst owner in baseball and should be forced to sell that team.
Yes.
And I really hope when baseball is ready to expand again, I hope Oakland is one of the first places they look at to go back to, hopefully with a brand new stadium, because they dug out home plate and sent it to Cooperstown after the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The A's final regular season record at the Coliseum, 2,492 and 2,000. Mason Miller had the last save. The last hit was Seth Brown's 8-inning single off Jack Leiter. The last run was scored by Jacob Wilson on J.J. Bleday's 5th-inning single, and Bleday had the last RBI. The last walk went to Tyler Soderstrom in the 8th inning off Leiter, and the last strikeout, Mason Miller against Leody Taveras in the 9th, on, I think, 104-mile-an-hour fastball, if I remember right. It was either 103 or 104. Good luck. The next time they play a home game, it's going to be in West Sacramento at Sutter Health Park, where they're going to be there through at least 2027 before they relocate to Las Vegas, where
if they even relocate. Yeah.
They haven't even broken ground yet. Like this.
They don't have an actual agreement yet.
No, they don't. This is a sham. And I hope this is one of the biggest black marks on the Rob Manfred era. And I hope it's one of the things that he has remembered least fondly about letting this happen. All right. Back to happier things. We had 2 Triple Crown winners this year. Tariq Skubal took the AL and Chris Sale took the NL. First time it's happened together in quite some time. I don't remember the exact year. I know NL, it hasn't happened since like 2010 to 2012 in there when Kershaw did it. Mm-hmm. I think the AL had it a little more recently. I want to say Garrett Cole maybe sometime in the last couple of years, but still impressive to see both leagues take it. I also wanted to recognize the Ironman players. We had 4 players this year who played all 162 games. From the Braves, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna. From the Mets, Pete Alonso. From the Phillies, Nick Castellanos. Congratulations to those 4 guys.
Fantastic.
I love seeing it. I wish that list was long. I wish that was a page long.
We got close. I don't know if you kept the list that I sent you, but we had a few that were in the 160, 161 club as well.
Yep, the 2 almost Ironmen. From the Brewers, Willie Adames. From the Royals, Bobby Witt Jr. And we had 360 gamers from the Reds, Ellie De La Cruz, who is one of my favorite non-Braves players in baseball, if I'm being honest. From the Red Sox, Duran Duran. And from the Yankees, Anthony Volpe, who I got to watch play. He's damn good.
Sure is.
So, wow, what a season.
Regular season's done, man.
Wild.
Can't believe it. Like, we are wrapping up another season. This is our 3rd season doing this show.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they go by quickly every year. So we have a few weeks yet before we crown a champ, and then we'll do kind of our wrap up show. We'll come back for some awards and award predictions, all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a good regular season. It was really, really enjoyable. Yeah. And I'm ready for some playoff baseball now.
Yes, me too. I just hope it goes well. As do we all for our teams playing. All right. So we'll be back sometime between the DS and the CS next week. We will figure out between me, Jason, and Ron, and maybe Joe. We'll figure out sometime next week to have an episode between the two series. So because it likely won't be able to be Monday. I don't think the DSs will be all sweeps and be done by then. So
No, well, the Monday would be a travel day for at least the NLDS.
Yeah, the NL will be on a trap. That's right. I forgot that's weirdly broken up. So we'll figure out some time to be on between the DS and the CS so we can have the next 2 rounds of predictions, and then we'll go from there. Any more thoughts from the regular season, man?
No, let's get into some playoff baseball. Red October, here we come, baby.
Absolutely. Guys, you can find audio recordings on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you find podcasts. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Merchandise is at redbubble.com. All of us are still on Twitter, DDAB_podcast. I'm at PyroLord314. Jason's at JRicker300. Joe's at JoltonJoe35. Ron's at Dipner Ron. Facebook is facebook.com/$dogsandbeer. We're presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Mannheim. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We'll see you in a couple rounds.